There will be arguments in a party of ideas. That is one thing, as I point out in this book. Democrats have an advantage. All they want is power. They spend their lives figuring out how do we get elected so we can run other people's lives.
Now, you've actually got her on your show, I think, on Friday, haven't you?
Yes,
what do you make of her argument?
Oh, it's always perfect. Perfectly wrong, you know, I mean, and the way, right, it's the Democrats who only care about power. That's right. I mean, look, every politician cares about power to a certain degree.
Love watching your face, watching Bill Maher talking about you. It went from smiley, smiley to, I'm going to slice him up with a mincer. Could you ever imagine dating Bill Maher? I'm serious.
If you were interviewing Margaret Thatcher, would you ask her that? No, I think not.
Would you ever date a liberal?
I am not discussing who I would date. No, I can't take little dinky hybrid cars.
So what do you make of what he had to say? He basically made a good point, which is, of course Republicans crave power. Of course they do.
Well, as I recommend at the beginning of chapter 3 of my book, I say we have to cite facts. And my facts are, lots of Republicans came out for, say, Nixon's impeachment. Not one single Democrat voted for the removal of Bill Clinton. Lots of Republicans you see on both sides of, for example, the Bush tax cut. Oh, John McCain voted against them. When it came to Obamacare, not one single Democrat voted against it, including the ones who were giving up their seats in order to vote for it. No, they enforce party discipline like an old communist cell. We're too busy arguing. We have half of the, not half of, but a small portion of the Tea Party right now, and I'm on talk radio all the time saying, stop focusing on our own. Please, could we get a majority in the Senate first? They're going after, you know, Republicans they consider slightly impure. I'm thinking we go after Al Franken and Mary Landrieu and Mark Begich and Mark Breyer. How about we flip some Democrat seats rather than purifying the Republican Party as long as we're in a minority?
Your name also came up in the Bill Maher interview when we discussed Dick Cheney. Let's watch this.
There are some elements out there like Fox, like your show, that I think are seriously objective and reflective of what I think a lot of Americans believe. I do find that the mainstream media oftentimes is what I'd consider off base or has a bias.
So Fox is the voice of reason.
Is he the illegitimate father of Ann Coulter that we just discovered something?
Got to put the question to you. I mean, he's not right. Dick Cheney isn't your secret.
No, and I'd say our politics are slightly different, but yeah, I like Dick Cheney.
Do you?
Yeah, not on everything. I think he was. I think he was more enthusiastic. I don't know. We don't know what he would have said about Syria. I was totally for Iraq. I was for Afghanistan, at least the way Bush handled it, but not for generally going into wars without thinking them out or without a clear plan for victory, as there was in Iraq. I mean, we had a democracy. They had votes. We didn't get any more terrorism out of them, and I object to Obama pulling troops out of Iraq and pointlessly sending them into Afghanistan.
Let me ask you this. There is clearly a big battle raging within your party
yes.
right now, right? Senator Cruz, who I've been quite critical of, but also I can see a guy with a plan, a guy with a brain. He knows what he's doing. He's getting support. He's a good talker. Alan Dershowitz told me one of the most brilliant students he'd ever had at Harvard. So not to be underestimated. Even Bill Maher said to me, I think he could win the nomination. Could he win the nomination, though? Is it technically possible for a guy like Ted Cruz to be the Republican nominee?
Sure, I hope so. I mean, it's very hard to make predictions this far out. I've gone back and looked at who was being talked about as both the Democrat and Republican likely presidential nominees 18 months out, and there are always people who never end up either even in the primaries or 1 month into the primary. So it's kind of crazy to be speculating about that now. But yeah, sure, senator, governor, articulate.
But can a Tea Party representative, such a vocal one, can he do it with his current policies as he espouses them, or will he inevitably have to move more to the centre? Not
on the things he's been talking about. I mean, Obamacare is falling apart right now. He's probably the most popular man. Yeah.
Was it worth shutting down the government with all the pain that caused?
Well, we didn't shut it down. Reid and Harry Reid, the Democratic leader in the Senate, and Obama did.
Ted Cruz and his renegades shut it down.
No, they kept passing bills funding the government, simply defunding Obamacare, simply delaying Obamacare, which, oh, by the way, Democrats want to do now 2 weeks later. And their final offer, okay, we'll fund everything, even Obamacare. We just want Congress to live under it. No, I think he's been quite well vindicated, and especially as Obamacare, as more and more people are thrown off their plans and they're finding out, gosh, everything Republicans told us about this was true.
How will you be celebrating Halloween tonight? Are you going out tonight?
It's my favorite holiday. I usually go to the Halloween parade in New York, and it's the only bad thing about being in this lovely city that I cannot go to the Greenwich Village.
Are you going to dress
Halloween
up and
parade.
go down Sunset Boulevard in some wacky costume?
I'm on a book tour. I'm going home and going to bed. But tomorrow night, I'm going to a party right after I tape Bill Maher. I'm going to borrow one of his jackets, and I'm going to go with Bill Maher.
Really? So you are having a date with Bill Maher. See, told you.